Okay, after the difficult skill of adding and subtracting a mixed number, we're actually going to move to something considerably easier, which is multiplying fractions. And the way we multiply the fractions is we simply multiply the numerators and denominators and then cancel. We should note mixed numbers would need to be written as improper fractions first. The most important thing here, with adding and subtracting, we needed that difficult first step where we had to write them over a lowest common denominator. We do not need to do that when we multiply fractions. It'll lead to some horrible cancelling that you will have to do at the end and horrible numbers to work with. You can do them with different denominators. So let's have a look at some examples. So for the first one, all we need to do, multiply together the numerators, so it's going to give me 2 times 3, and we multiply together the denominators, 2 times 3 and 7 times 4. 2 times 3 gives me 6, 7 times 4 gives me 28. Make sure we look at that last step, which is to cancel. So we're looking for what goes into both 6 and 28. Well, both of them are even, so we can divide them by 2, which gives me 3 out of 14. For the second question, we've got a fraction times by a number, and we're going to look in more detail at multiplying fractions by whole numbers later on. But here, when we've got a whole number, we just write it as a fraction over 1, and it should then become significantly easier. A whole number is a fraction over 1. So we're going to do 4 times 20 on my numerator and 5 times 1 on my denominator. 4 times 20 is going to give me 80, and 5 times 1 is 5. Notice the numerator ends in a 0, the denominator ends in a 5, so they're both in the 5 times table. That's going to give me 16 over 1. But remember, fractions over 1 are just whole numbers, so we just write it as 16. The last one is the more complicated one. So first thing we're going to need to do is turn those mixed numbers into improper fractions. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So this is the same as 17 out of 6. 2 times 5 is 10, add 1 is 11. So 17 out of 6 times by 11 out of 5. So the first thing I need to do is 17 times 11. Well, 17 times 11, it's going to give me 187. So I get 187 out of 30. I need to change that back to a mixed number at the end. So going up in my 30 times table, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. So that goes in 6 times. 6 times takes me up to 180. I've got 7 left over, so it's 6 and 7/30. Pause the video while you take down the worked examples, and then I'm going to give you a few questions to try yourselves. Okay, so here are 9 questions for you to try. They do go in increasing order of difficulty. For the first ones, you can just multiply straight away and then cancel. For the second set, for the second row, making sure that you put your whole numbers as fractions out of 1, and if you get a whole number at the end, if you get a fraction out of 1 at the end, turn it into a whole number. And for your last questions, you are going to need to convert to improper fractions and then convert back to mixed number at the end. Pause the video now, write down the questions, and give them a go. Good luck. Okay, please mark your work. Notice that never there did I ever have to put anything over a common denominator. I simply went and multiplied the fractions. Just be careful, these ones where you're multiplying by a whole number, so for example there, do just make sure you put in that 1, and then be really careful when you're cancelling down in the last questions there at the end. Very well done. Give yourself a mark out of 9. If you need any more assistance, please take a look at Hegarty clips 68 and 69.